happy Halloween. Do you like my costume? I've come as the scariest thing of all, crippling disappointment in the form of a Total War blog. So yeah, last week on Friday afternoon, just before closing up shop, CA put out an announcement on a Total War blog that the 3.0 update isn't coming until Q2 of 2023. Now, for those of you that don't work in quarters out there, you know they're not business heads, Q2 2023 is anywhere from April to June of next year. So the start of April till the end of June, which is a pretty big gap. Now, this is being pushed back from what I believe is Q1 of 2023, and I believe it's being pushed back even further from Q4 of this year, which was on the original roadmap. Now, this is yet another 6 to 8 month content gap for Warhammer 3, and while this is nothing that's too crazy, you know, Warhammer 2 at the end, the 2 DLCs had a 6 to 7 month gap between them, this is still pretty concerning. It's getting to the point now that I honestly am starting to wonder if CA even want the game to do well. Now, full disclosure, if you don't know, I'm part of the CA partner program, and all that really means is I get slightly early access than most people, and I sometimes get the opportunity to do sponsored content with them, very rarely. They have no say over why I'm making videos, over opinions. The only thing that they have say over is non-disclosure agreement stuff, and none of this stuff is part of that. So everything that you hear in this video is going to be my own opinions and my own thoughts, which, you know, I think you could probably get since I just kind of slightly accused them of trying to kill their own game. So to catch up in case you missed it, Warhammer 3 launched on the 17th of February 2022. After that, the game got no content aside from some slight patches that slightly changed how the campaign works, but no new content until August of 2022, and mid to late August at that. In that update, we got Immortal Empires and the Champions of Chaos, and I'm just going to say it right here, right now, Champions of Chaos should absolutely have been held back. Part of Immortal Empires first, iron out a couple of bugs, and then release the Champions of Chaos around Christmas this year, and then, you know, this gap actually wouldn't be that bad. You know, Q2 2023 from December of this year wouldn't be too bad. That's, you know, that's 4 to 6 months. It's not terrible. It's obviously not great, but it's not terrible. But instead they opted to go for 2 releases in one, which introduced a shit ton more bugs and is likely what's causing this massive gap between content. Now, as I said, this isn't horrifically bad looking at even Warhammer 2 standards, because towards the end there, you know, we had the Twisted and the Twilight, and then 6 or 7 months later, we had the Silence and the Fury. But if you go further back into Warhammer 2 when it was, you know, its prime and it was churning out content, the Hunter and the Beast came out on the 11th of September 2019, and then the Shadow and the Blade came out on the 12th of December 2019, and then One on the Paunch, 21st of May 2020. So how big a gap is that? That's 4 or 5 months. And Twist and Twilight, December of 2020. So another big gap there. And then Silence and the Fury, July 14th, 2021. So, you know, the gaps have just continually been getting bigger. And you could say that's down to, you know, Immortal Empires. The more factions you add to it, the more bugs are introduced. Every update, you know, how they interact with everyone, it needs more ironing out. But, come on. We're not going to just let them off with that excuse, are we? Oh, the map's getting bigger and there's more people. There's no more factions. You know, when they add new factions to the game, they don't just remove factions. Okay, they don't, like, the minor factions that are there, they will just get replaced by something. So, you know, say before Ilariel got added to the game, there was always a faction that was there in her site location. They just replaced it with her. So, like, it's not like they're adding a new faction. It's just they're replacing an old one and then just, you know, kind of tweaking that. So it's not... Again, I'm not a developer, I don't know how all this works, but we shouldn't just let them off because, you know, the map's getting bigger. If the map's getting bigger, put more people on the team to work on the map. It's simple as that, really. Now, all of this wouldn't be a problem. All of the delays wouldn't be a problem if we hadn't been promised a faster tempo of releases directly from CA. When we got the roadmap, okay, it said Immortal Empires came out when it did, you know, August, and that's fine, you know, actually meeting deadlines once. Well done, CA. I didn't think you had it in you. And then 3.0 and the Regiments of Renown, which is a free LC, by the way, a free update bit of content, which is essentially just adding some new units to the game, okay? Adding new units to the game for free, and let's be honest, they're pretty much just reskinned units with, like, slightly different stats and maybe a couple of abilities. That is also getting pushed back to Q2 of 2023. So they're breaking their promise on 2 bits of content at least, and yeah, they have teased that, you know, there's something else that's going to come out, possibly, just leaving themselves well open to say, yeah, we said possibly, so we're just not going to do it. And of course, this delay is not an isolated incident. The entire release of Warhammer 3, since its announced, has been, honestly, pretty much a shambles. Now, for the recent delays, there's something that, you know, we can't really go on without mentioning, and that is the allegations surrounding CA and the higher-up staff. Now, let me be 100% clear. If half the stuff that I've read about these allegations is true, and yes, allegations, because at this point nothing has been proven, so, you know, legally, it's allegations at this point, Those people should absolutely be thrown out like the trash there and possibly charged, depending on the severity of their actions. That is 100% correct. The investigation absolutely needs to happen, and any disruption to the game's development cycle, I'm 100% okay with. It's fine. I value the mental well-being and the physical well-being of people much more than, getting an update to my video game. But let me just say, I don't think CA can just use this as a coverall excuse of, 3.0 is getting delayed because of this investigation. The allegations only really started coming out, over the last couple of weeks, and then the announcement of an internal or an external investigation was only made last week. So we can only assume that it's going to start at the very best when they made that announcement, but it probably won't. It'll probably be, okay, we've booked in this investigation. It'll probably be starting, in the next couple of weeks. So if 3.0 was meant to come out in December, we're now at the end of October, and how marketing works, you kind of need a teasable build. So it would need to be in a teasable state by this point, and we would be getting, teasers for, let's be honest, we all know that it's pretty much going to be Chaos Dwarves. This isn't any, internal information. Everyone is pretty 100% confident that it's going to be Chaos Dwarves from all the teasers and stuff. So let's just say it like it is. So the point I'm trying to make about all this is that regardless of the allegations and the investigation, 3.0 was never going to come out in December. Even if none of this has happened and none of it had come out, it was never going to come out in December. It just wasn't. So by all means, any further delays that are caused by the investigation, absolutely, that's 100% fine by me. It needs to happen. And again, it's way more valuable than getting an update to a goddamn video game. But don't for a second just think that, this 3.0 thing, it's just down to that. It's fine. It's fine. That's the only reason. It isn't. It's pure, total mismanagement. Now, of course, when I'm talking about mismanagement, I mean like higher-ups and like super, super higher-ups. Like Sonic the Hedgehog himself, who's on top of Sega, who's on top of CA, is probably responsible for this. Your average dev is underpaid and overworked, and he's probably just working there because he needs the work experience and or he loves video games and wants desperately to work on one of his favorite franchises, Total War, Warhammer, whatever that may be. 99% of the time, when a game does something like this, has a shitload of delays, overpromises, underdelivers, it's the fault of like 3 or 4 dickheads in suits making all the decisions, and most of those decisions are for money purposes. And yeah, I know companies exist to make money, and publicly traded companies are legally obliged to make money for their shareholders, but it's just scummy, man, and we all know it is. At this point, it feels like those 3 or 4 dickheads have just decided, Warhammer 3 is done as well as it's going to go, and now it's time to put it on maintenance mode and just let it die. We'll shift all our focus to the next game, whatever that may be, and we'll overhype and underdeliver that one and just feed the whole cycle again until people lose total faith in the company. Because by that point, they'll have made their money, they'll have fucked off, they don't care. If Warhammer 3 was the pinnacle of the franchise, like we've been promised it would be, then surely they would be funneling as much manpower and resources into it as possible to, make it into a success. But instead, it just feels like they're like, people are complaining a lot. I just don't want to deal with this right now. Just delay the release, and we'll see what we can do for it next year. Just leave it. I can't be bothered. Like, bro, this is not me waking up to my alarm in the morning. You actually need to do this. You've promised to hundreds of thousands of people that you're going to do this. You can't just be like, no, I don't feel like it anymore. Now think about other games that have slowly died. Okay, what are the signs? So you have constantly delaying content, leading to a much slower tempo of releases, leading to less content year on year, leading to eventually no content, and the announcement that the game is now on life support, and that no more content is coming. Now, do I think CA are going to drop the kernel on Warhammer 3? Absolutely not. Games Workshop are on their back to milk as much money out of the series as possible, and without a super serious reason, like, having a 0 player count, I definitely don't think they'd do that. And if they did, they'd probably get in a shitload of trouble. But if CA can get away with doing the bare minimum to uphold their part of the bargain, then absolutely, I can see them 100% doing that without a doubt. It also just feels like we've come full circle to where we were a few months before Immortal Empire's release. The play count is steadily falling, and while it hasn't reached the insane lows that it did before the release of Immortal Empires, there's 6 to 8 months before the next major content announcement and drop. So, it's only going to decline from here. Eventually, it will get to that point. And yeah, there's the talk of the possible extra update, but again, that's possible, which to me just sounds like we're probably not going to do it, so we're just going to say possible to give you some hope and then just take it away a bit later on. If they do it, I'll happily eat my words, but I just can't see it happening. I feel like there's only so many times that fans are going to flock back to Warhammer 3 after being disappointed. The launch, it was all super exciting, we're all so hyped for it, and then you played it for a few months and you're like, this is kind of really boring to play again, and we're all disappointed. And then, Immortal Empires comes out and we're all excited again, we all come back, and then, like, there's no new content for, the majority of a year. And then when Chaos Dwarves come out, how many people are going to come back? That's a race pack. Immortal Empires was their chance to bring people back and keep them there. If I absolutely believe, if Immortal Empires came out in October, they delayed the Champions of Chaos to, December, January, and then, Chaos Dwarves come out, at the start of summer, that'd have been absolutely fine. People would have, they've probably retained maybe like a, what do we think? Maybe like a 40k, 50k play count on Steam. If a tease come out starting in November, that'd rise up a little bit and then to a peak when Champions of Chaos come out and then slowly fall back down. Chaos Dwarves go back up, but instead they opted for the double release and then nothing. It's terrible management, if you ask me. And when Chaos Dwarves come back, only the people that are interested in playing Chaos Dwarves or playing against them are going to come back. Sure, some people will come back to, play against them just in the regular game and not buy them. But the majority of people that are going to come back are going to be the people that want to play Chaos Dwarves. And that isn't the entire playbase. The entire playbase doesn't play every single faction. Only a small group of super hardcore players do that. And, content creators who have nothing better to do with their lives. It's just getting to the point now that it seems like every single update that they leave a massive gap in, the peak is just going to slowly get lower and lower and lower. And then, the bottom of players is going to get lower and lower and lower. So, between Warhammer 3 launching and Immortal Empires, you had a terrible low, and then it got back to a really big high, and then it's like slowly declining to, a low point, and then it'll be another high. But it's just going to get to the point where the high is not going to be that high. What was the high for Immortal Empires release? Let's just have a look at the Steam charts. 119,000. How high will it be for Chaos Dwarves? Maybe 100,000, maybe 80,000. And then the next DLC for that, maybe 60,000, then 40,000. And then that means that the lows is, maybe a couple of thousand players rather than 20,000, like Warhammer 2 sound for the majority of its lifetime. Now, I'm going to echo exactly what I said in my last rant type video, that I want Warhammer 3 to do well. And yeah, part of that is the selfish reason that the channel mostly relies upon it for the majority of the content. The majority of the content on this channel is Total War Warhammer related. So if the game dies, the channel, it kind of doesn't do great. But also, this is a franchise I love. I want it to succeed because, I want a cool game to play. And I really care about this franchise. I've been playing it for years before I started making videos on it. So it's just heartbreaking to see so much potential just be so wasted. It's like watching your favorite sports team in whatever, I know we're not into sports here, but, just stick with me. It's like watching your favorite sports team get to the final, and then, in the lead up to the final, like, I can't really be bothered anymore. Let's just stop training and let's just go and eat McDonald's every day. And then they get to the final and they get annihilated. Say you've climbed most of the mountain, but you're not at the top. You have to keep working and keep pushing. And then once Warhammer 3 has lived its long and successful life and you've moved on to, Troy 2 or whatever, you can think back and say, wow, look at that, Warhammer 3. We did that and it was amazing. It feels like they've just gone, yeah, we made Warhammer 2. Now here's Warhammer 3. We don't really care and we're not putting in much effort. But it's there, and we made it, and we made Warhammer 2. How can we do anything wrong? Well, you can do a lot wrong. It's come out. Honestly, it just feels like they got way too cocky after Warhammer 2. Had such a long, successful lifespan, released so many DLCs, had so many peaks. Like, the actual peak of that game was the Warden and the Paunch, which came out, like, how many years after the game released? 3 years after the game released. It got its peak players, which is insane for anything that isn't like a multiplayer game that gets a huge content update. A single-player game reaching that peak is ridiculous. Feels like they just saw that and were like, yeah, we can relax now. We can just do Warhammer 3 however we want. It'll be fine no matter what we do. And while, yeah, it may have sold well because it was so hyped and fans were so excited, having fans' faith is more important than having their immediate money. Fans with faith will come back and purchase every single DLC. They will come back for every content update, every single thing, every single patch. If they slightly change the balance, faithful fans will come back and say, ooh, I wonder how this has changed things up. But now it feels like they're just like, oh, fans, we got new shiny thing for you to buy. Now give me money, give me money. We put not much effort into it, but give me money. Like, you need to keep fans' faith and, reward that faith with good, high-quality content. Instead, it's like you built up all this good faith with Warhammer 2 with, the regular content and the good content that you got. And now you're just like, we're going to give you, content not really as often, and then when we do release it, it's going to be a buggy mess. So you basically get to be beta testers for us, and it's really a privilege on your part. Yeah, I don't know. They've just kind of like treated the playbase like shit, to be honest. Now they're just kind of like, yeah, we're just going to do whatever. We're just going to allow whatever stinky fart we want, and you're just going to suck it right up, and there's not really much you can do about it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've run on long enough. I suppose all this is a good thing, really. Every single Warhammer 3 disappointment just reminds me the channel shouldn't rely so much on a single game. And boy, oh boy, I want to make sure that if Warhammer 3 does eventually go down, that it does not take me with it. We've got Dark Tide coming at the end of next month, and I'm super excited about that. I appreciate all the support on the original Dark Tide video, by the way. I've got planned for a bunch more videos on that and the different classes and stuff. It should be a lot of fun. And also Vicky 3's come out, and I've been trying to learn that to, make a video for. There's lots of stuff that I can make videos for. But, Warhammer 3 is just like, it's that comfort game. And the Warhammer series, it's that thing that, I'm coming back to because, it's what I know. And it's what I thought I loved. But, the more disappointments I get, the more I'm just starting to realize that, it's kind of like if you eat the same thing for lunch every day. It's like, you like it. And it's scary to try new stuff because you might not like it. And it might not settle as well in your stomach. But you need to do it because, eating a ham sandwich every day, it gets boring. And you probably don't like it as much as you think you do. So, try some chicken. That knowledge go anywhere? I don't know. Let me know how you're feeling about all this in the comments below. By the way, I know it's I went on quite a bit this video. Honestly, I'm just getting frustrated with how terribly the entire Warhammer 3 life is being mismanaged at this point. All they need to do is just stick to their promises and they'll be just fine. Allocate as many people. I don't care if it's like a bunch more work. If Warhammer 2 DLCs, require half the work the Warhammer 3 DLCs require, then, put on double the team. It makes sense. You know that it's going to do well because you've put out the high quality content. You've seen how high it can get, and it's only going to get higher if you continue to make good content. So do that, and there should be no more problems. Easy as that, really. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up. Like I said, let me know how you're feeling in the comments. Like, sub, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.